East Hampton, we are live.
Morning, everyone. I call to order the planning board for January 9th, 2025. The first item on our agenda are the minutes of December 13, 2024. Are there any questions or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve. Do I have that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Dennis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. The next item on our agenda is Dunmere Lane Properties at 5759 Dunmere Lane. Is the applicant present? No. Okay. And what they want here is, Billy, you want to describe it?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Billy Hajak for the village. The applicant has requested a 6-month extension in order to complete the conditions of their approval, which was demolishing certain structures and obtaining health department approval. They're actively working on it, so I don't have any objection to the granting of an extension.
Thank you very much. So let's just take a vote on that. Do I have a motion to approve the extension?
Yes. I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. The next item is the 189 Further Lane, and okay, and is the applicant present? Oh, great. Could you just introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like to do? Good morning.
Good morning. Elizabeth Baldwin, attorney with Essex, Hefner and Angel. I'm here on behalf of the Roberts, who are the owners of 74 Cross Highway, and the Scheinmans, who are the owners of 189 Further Lane. I think we are here for a lot line modification between these two lots. I think the board will find this is kind of unusual because the applicants are seeking to return the lots to how they originally were configured. Right now, 189 Further is basically a dog leg type lot. It was originally the rear portion of 74 Cross Highway, and we are seeking to return that dog leg portion, which has currently has the tennis court in it, back to 74 where it originally was. I guess at the time, this was in 1988, the owner of 74, oh, the owner of 189 purchased 74 and had, I guess one of the main reasons was he wanted that tennis court and he wanted to incorporate it into his main residence lot, which was the 189 lot. And so he came to the zoning board, got a variance in order to incorporate it, and it's been like that since the 80s. The properties are now owned by two separate people, and the owners of 74 would like to incorporate the tennis court into their lot. And so they've worked out this arrangement. So we're just seeking permission from the board to put it back to how it was.
It's a flip-flop.
It is.
Okay.
I've never seen it's
Right.
It was interesting to see that in the history and be like,
Right.
oh, this is how it was. That makes sense.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy, comments on?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Billy Hajak again for the village. I prepared a report for the board, dated December 27th, outlined the project as described by Beth. I don't have any comments of substance. It puts the lots back to their original configuration. It creates rectangular shaped lots, which is an objective of the subdivision regulations. So I think from that perspective, it's a good design. I think the project does require some variances or variance relief. So the planning board can't act on it until they obtain the necessary relief from the zoning board. I did have two suggestions or recommendations. One, just verifying that the gross floor area is supported on the proposed lot sizes. And I had suggested consideration for a road widening easement on the Further Lane parcel because there are Further Lane in this area. Most people are familiar with the condition of the roadway. It's a pretty narrow road. The road right-of-way is substandard. Some properties, their property lines extend up to the edge of asphalt. In some areas, there's a 2 or 3 foot wide road right-of-way. We have situations of fencing being installed directly on the roadway, and then utilities are being installed close, onto private property or, on property where there's no right of way and there's some pavement encroachments. So I just think from good, it's a good planning tool to use. And, whether or not the applicant is willing to do that is to be determined, but it's a suggestion that I recommend be considered. Other than that, I have no other real comments, and unless the board has questions for me.
Any questions, board members? Okay. No, yes, please.
Elizabeth Baldwin again. I just wanted to discuss the road widening easement. We actually don't believe that the planning board could ask for a road widening easement in this application. We are not, we're not really changing anything here. There's no additional density, no new curb cuts, nothing new. No one's even going to know that this change has occurred within the town. We think to take away the 189's rights for public use would not be permitted in this situation. So we would be pushing back on that if that does become a condition, or if the board is seeking to make that a condition. So I just wanted to let the board know that we are not comfortable with that condition at this point. Okay.
Thank you.
And with regard to the GFA, I know Billy had brought that up in his memo. We were able to obtain from Zillow and from the prior real estate listings, the sizes of the house. 189 is listed at 7,400 square feet, which is well below I think they would be, with the new configurations, they would be entitled to a GFA of 11,913, and they're listed, and I understand that it's from the real estate listing, it's not, an architectural certified. But the listing says 7,400, which seems well below. And then same with Cross Highway. The permitted GFA would be 9,741, and it's the Zillow listing listed it at 4,300. Usually you would think they would want to make it a bigger, for the listing. So we feel like we're well below anything, and therefore to the expense of having an architect have to go in and really do that GFA authorization seemed a bit excessive, but obviously we understand that if Tom requires it. We did get a turn down letter from Tom already with regard to the variances. We do know at this point we need 5 variances. So we are preparing our ZBA application and we'll be submitting that shortly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll send this off to the ZBA and thank you. The next item on the agenda is the 176 Newtown Lane. Is the applicant present? Oh, hi. Could you come introduce yourself and just tell us what you'd like to do? Thank you.
Just want some photos, just so you can have a sense of what's there right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good morning, Richard Whalen from Whalen Filer PLLC. I represent Jack Forrest and Helene Silverblank Forrest, who are the owners of the property at 176 Newtown Lane. That's a flag lot off the east side of Newtown Lane. It was created in 1989, minor subdivision called Robert David. So the Robert David subdivision established a scenic easement along the perimeter of the property. We're really concerned with the area on the south side of the property. It abuts lots that front on Burke Street. And a couple of years ago, just south of the Forest House, that part of the scenic easement had become grown over with bamboo. So the village, I guess, complained and said, to Jack and Elaine to do something about that. So they removed it and then replanted with what you're seeing today, which is kind of, light in terms of planting. There's mostly arborvitae, and obviously there's some grass there and so forth. So the immediately adjoining neighbor to the south complained about the disturbance of the scenic easement, said it should be in its natural state. Jack and Elaine had opposed their variance application, so we think that was a bit of a tit for tat kind of activity, but in any event, we have interfaced with the village and come up with, we hired, the force hired Jim Grimes, Land Design, to come up with a revegetation plan for the 15-foot wide scenic easement on the south side. And that would basically, we would keep the arborvitae that are there, but we would be supplementing that area with, I think, 9 eastern red cedar trees and some bayberry and high bush blueberry and ground cover. So that's the plan. We would like to have until November 15th of this year to complete it, so they could hopefully get the best price on the, planting materials, which would be more likely to be in the fall, I think, than in the springtime. But the work would be done this year if you approve the revegetation plan. I would just note that the similar project was done on the neighboring property to the west, which is also part of the subdivision. I was involved in that. The owner of that was, what was the fellow's name? Still the owner right now. Yeah, Walter Brewster. Also had to do a revegetation plan for somewhat different reasons for the area of the scenic easement. So bottom line is we would make that a much more, fill that out in terms of vegetation, so it would look more like an area in its natural state.
The neighbors objected to what we're currently looking at that's depicted in these photos?
No, well, yeah, the neighbors objected to what's there today, which is lacking.
Which is
in
what we're
terms of
looking at.
plantings.
But you removed the bamboo, am I correct? I don't
Yes.
see bamboo. So there was a lot of bamboo and you removed a lot of bamboo?
Right, and obviously that then opened up the area.
Sure.
The arborvitae were planted after the bamboo was removed.
And it only depicts 2 arborvitae here. Are there more than 2?
There's more than, if you look at the
And how many feet apart are they planted? Oh, they looks like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I'll just point out on the,
Sure.
the
It looks
Grimes,
like they're,
it does show the existing arborvitae.
yes, but it shows like it looks like they're 10 feet apart or something.
On the map here, it's depicting.
Yeah.
It's denser on the map than it is on the photograph.
Yeah, it's not very dense, and that's why we're proposing to put in all the additional vegetation.
Were the neighbors informed or shown the plan that you're proposing from
No,
Grimes?
not to my knowledge.
So we didn't get any feedback from them regarding that?
No.
Yes, we do.
The whole situation occurred where the neighbor on McGurk Street was going for a variance to have a cabana built 20 inches off of my property line. It was an existing structure that Walter Bobby owned, okay? And it was basically called out that it was for the sole use of Walter Bobby to use as a writer's studio. They came in and they wanted to increase the size of it and turn it into a cabana, knock the whole structure down and put a cabana 20 inches off my property line. I complained adamantly about it, as I believe anybody in this room would also. At that point, they became very adamant and very upset with me. And I was like, I have the right to voice my opinion. I said, you're impacting my property value by having this 20 inches off of my property. They needed to be 20 feet off of the property. They ended up at 6. Okay, that was a
6
variance.
feet.
6 feet is where this new structure is put.
Because it was pre-existing.
Yeah, exactly, for Walter Bobby.
Yeah.
But it was not supposed to be, it was supposed to be a writer's studio, which is a quiet application. So I complained about it. At that point, they're upset with me. Literally, they were the ones who put the complaint into the village as far as the summons that I received from them. They made the complaint. Okay, as soon as I have spent over $100,000 removing this bamboo, okay, because of them. Okay, literally the trees that I had there were on the property for probably 3 weeks sitting there. Literally, did they make a call to Tom when the guys were pulling out of the driveway and just completed the planting and said, Jack, plant the trees in the scenic easement. And that's where we are.
Okay.
And as I said, the village came to me. There's been questions whether I needed to remove it or not. I felt I was being a good neighbor by removing the bamboo because they were complaining about that. I never planted this stuff. but I took on the burden of removing it, and I still have the burden to maintain it at this point, which I've done all summer long. I've been digging this stuff. I mean, if it was the summertime, I'd be bleeding like crazy all around here because I'm on blood thinners, but, you know, it is what it is. But I just felt that I was discriminated against by virtue of them because I complained about their variance, which I felt I had the right to. I don't know if anybody has any other questions or anything. I can answer that because I know a little bit more than Rick, but.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions. Thank you. Billy, you're now, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chairman and the board. Billy Hajak for the Village. I reviewed the plan by Jim Grimes. I don't have any concerns with the plant selection that they're proposing. I think it naturalizes the area. It's native vegetation. The evergreens that are there are not invasive, so I don't think they're going to cause any more problems like the bamboo did. So I think this is a good, a good mitigation plan, and I don't have any objection to a condition that the plantings be completed by, I think it was November 15th?
November 15th?
Yeah, that's fine. It gives them the spring and the fall to get the plantings done.
Get the best deal you can.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for me,
I have no problems with it, and I think the
Okay.
plan looks excellent, and I wish you the best of luck, and
I can prepare a resolution for the board for the next
Okay.
meeting.
okay, good. All right, good. Thank you. Okay. Gentlemen, thank you, and good luck with that.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Good luck. Okay, the next item is the subdivision at 77 Toilsome Lane. Is the applicant present? Yes. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and Board. Dan Weaver from Walbridge Surveyors on behalf of the applicant. So basically, our situation here is we have a parcel of property that splits the town-village boundary. Happens to be that we are a 1 acre zone in the village, half-acre zone in the town. We have about 1.5 acres, and it works just well that we're going to propose a subdivision here right along the village-town boundary. That's the general thesis of our application, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board has.
Anyone? Thank you. Billy, your input? Thank you.
Good morning again, Billy Hajak for the Village. I prepared a written report for the board. It's dated December 20th. I won't summarize the entire report, but I will just point out that the two parcels being created, the town parcel appears to comply with town zoning. The village parcel appears to comply with village zoning in terms of lot area, lot width. It's a pre-existing structure, so it's not becoming more non-conforming. The access is proposed via a shared common driveway over the existing driveway. I am recommending that be referred to the village's consulting engineer for review, just to ensure if there's any drainage issues we should be aware of. And just it's a little tricky turning. There's 2 turns there, so we want to make sure that it's satisfactory for fire and emergency vehicles, and whether or not a turnaround would be required at the terminus. While the lot complies with the village's zoning regulations, I would just point out that it is a little bit constrained. A substantial portion of the lot is like the flagpole portion where the driveway is. So the remaining bulk of the lot where they can develop is still, it's kind of tied up between driveways, existing buildings. So for new accessory structures and swimming pools, or a swimming pool rather, it's going to be a little tight. So they might be boxing themselves in a little bit in terms of future planning for. They could always tear down what's there and start over again. That's an option. But I'm just pointing that out to the board and to the applicant.
Thank you.
So.
And we'll be the lead agency?
Yeah, it recommended that the planning board declare lead agency.
Okay.
And then we can route the application to the other involved agencies, and the applicant can get started with their zoning board application.
Thank you, Billy. Yes, thank you.
By the lead agency means that we would control some of it, the town property in our decisions?
No, so the lead agency is just the environmental review. It's to determine whether or not the project will have a substantial impact on the environment. And it's just the lead agency is the primary permitter for the project. And you're charged with taking a hard look at the potential environmental impacts. So.
What I would be concerned about is if, let's say that this driveway, we do need to make modifications to it, we wouldn't have the right to tell the town what that modification would be, correct?
No, it's anything that's within the village is going to be completely within your purview of review. So if some changes have to be made to the driveway, that's as recommended by, the village's engineer or the fire department, then, we can make those recommendations or requirements.
Thank you.
Yep.
Board, any other questions? Okay. Would you like to comment?
Yes, Dan Weaver again. Just a few comments. We are aware that the lot would be somewhat constrained for future development. However, with some slight modifications to the septic system, we could fit a small pool. The client is aware that it would be a very small pool, wouldn't be as big as what exists on the, what would become the rear lot. But there is room to do the minor developments that the current owner may want to make to be able to still have a swimming pool if they so chose to sell the rear lot. And as far as the driveway is concerned, we're happy to have the engineer review, and the easement could be modified as needed. And just a reminder, it would be the same fire department reviewing it. So it would, the comments that come back from the fire department would support the town lot, and all of the easement would be on the village portion. So it's not like we have to work the easement between the town and the village. The easement is on the village portion of the property only, wouldn't extend into the town. If we need a turnaround, maybe some of it would then extend into the town portion of the property, but I think we can mitigate the turnaround to remain on the village lot, since that's the larger lot to begin with.
It's really going to be dependent on what's built on that second lot.
Yeah, I mean, basically they would be limited to, town zoning, what allows for a half-acre size lot. That shouldn't change the requirements of the driveway, because we wouldn't be adding any, basically we're adding 1 unit of density. So it wouldn't require a fire access road driveway or something of that extent, or usually when you get to 3-4 lots is when the larger shared driveway, easements are, and driveway designs are added to these types of subdivisions. So I think we have the room we need to reconfigure the driveway within the easement.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question for Billy. So if, for our decision here, what direction it's going to go, we will not have to collaborate with the town planning board? This is going to be based on our decision alone?
So for SECRA, you would refer it, we're going to send a letter to the town that the planning board is declared lead agency and ask them if they object. And then also, because the action is within close, obviously it's within close proximity, and actually some of it is part of the town, we would still refer the application to the town for review. It's like an intergovernmental review. And I think it's like 500 feet for any project within 500 feet of a municipal boundary. It's referred to that agency for just general comment regardless. So we would still refer to the town and just let them know that we have an application, and if you care to opine, you can opine.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah, would you have another comment? Surely. Take your time.
Just so you're aware, we have put in an application to the town as well. That was submitted the same day it was submitted to the village. We're waiting for to be put on the planning board schedule for the town, but we do have to go through subsequent sequential planning board process and review with the town. I mean, and they would only be commenting again on the town portion of the property, but we do have an application, and then this would require both boards to sign the final map to, in order to finish the subdivision. So while, as Billy was saying, as you would be lead agency for SECRA, you would actually both be reviewing your particular zoning on this property. It's a little complicated in that sense, but basically what would come down to the end, as long as both agencies approve it, then we would have an approved subdivision.
Thank you.
And health department as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions, anybody? Okay, so I'll declare that I'll make a motion that we will be the lead agency. Do I have a motion to approve that? Motion. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Great, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. And any other questions for today? If not, then this concludes our agenda for today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you all. See you at the next meeting. Thank you.